Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos. You say I know more about this than you do, but Enneagram is still kind of a new thing. The personality test that I took when I first got licensed was the DISC.
Ooh.
Was the DISC.
What are you on disc?
Test. I think it was an I. I don't remember. High I. Is that what they call it?
A high D, high I when I took it. I refer to it as a F around and find out personality.
That's good. That's good.
Right? It fits.
Honestly, and I'm going to read through the 9 personality types with Enneagrams. We'll just kind of breeze over the different types and then dive into ours. And it's so funny because we are the same. We are the same one. And I did not think that we would be the same. I thought I was going to be a 2. A 2? I think it's a 2.
So I don't know much about them. I'll be completely honest, y'all. This is a very Brenna heavy episode because this is her jam. I grew up on Myers-Briggs. I've been tested on Myers-Briggs since I was a small child. That's a whole nother story. But so I don't know much about Enneagrams. I don't know who we are, what they are. I think you and I have very similar personalities based on internally. I think the way we express them can be very different at times, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, it's just the Enneagram is supposed to help people see past the superficial differences, right? And you have your core strengths and unique contributions as a human. So hold on. We've got 9 types. Type 1 says it's the improver. These types can lead through integrity and reason, but also be challenged by perfectionism and resentment. That's just the quick little blurb because neither one of us are 1.
Right. Nope.
Type 2 is the helper. 2s can shine with generosity and being attuned to people's needs, but also struggle with defending their own boundaries and people pleasing. I thought I was going to be more of a 2.
That kind of sound. I feel like I would be more of a 2.
I thought I was going to be a 2 for sure. 3 is the performer. They can be inspiring examples of excellence and authenticity, but also blindly pursue success and status. A type 4, it says that they are the original. 4s can open people's eyes to the beauty of the world and shine with authenticity, but also be held back by moodiness and self-absorption. So, I'm moody, but I knew I wasn't going to be a 4.
Right? Yeah, no.
Type 5.
Not a 4. That withdrawn part. Although, you know what? I am a little isolating, but no, not a 4.
Well, I think there's a difference between I don't want to go out tonight and being withdrawn. I think there's a difference.
Yeah, true.
Type 5 says that it's the investigator. They can demonstrate visionary intellect and intentiveness or become increasingly socially withdrawn and secretive. Type 6 is the loyalist or the guardian. 6s can amplify courage and commitment, but also struggle with anxiety and rebelliousness. We'll let you guys guess out of these 9 what you think. Type 7 is the enthusiast. 7s can become uplifting visionaries and agents for positive change or struggle with impulsiveness and impatience. Could have been a 7 too. The challenger is type 8. They are powerful, selfless leaders, but also control and intimidate others. And then the last one is the peacemaker. That's type 9. 9s bring people together, heal conflicts, but are held back by passivity and stubbornness.
I think ours fits.
I think it works out. We took an Enneagram test a couple of weeks ago. We took the same test, and weirdly enough, we got the same results.
Yes. So. It's funny because like we said earlier, we are very similar people, but we're also very different people. And so I think at our core, we're very much the same. And like I said earlier, I think the way we express these personalities is different. But we're also at very different stages in life. Like, so the way it's going to come across in the things we do is going to be different as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, we ended up being an Enneagram 6 with a wing 5.
So it says that we tend to be intellectual, hardworking, but cautious in our behavior. We're independent, but very loyal to those we support, and that we're usually serious and more focused than other sixes. Yup. Hit the nail on the
I mean, I think
head
that
with that
sounds right.
one.
I think that's right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so we're going to kind of just go through again just the personality traits, its strengths and weaknesses. We're just kind of going to bounce back and forth and see if we think that we fit those categories, and then how we think that it applies in our business.
Yep. So, and just before we start this, guys, one of the reasons we're going over this, at least for my reasoning, is knowing who you are and understanding personality types, whether you use the Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, the DISC personality, is going to help you identify other personality types so that you know how to interact with people better. You can have better conversations with potential clients or vendors. Being able to respond in a way that they will react, I don't want to say correctly, but well to, is going to help your business. Because if you are just like, well, this is who I am and I'm never going to adjust, it's not going to end well for you. Um, so I highly recommend take one of these, take all of them if you want. Figure out a little more about who you are and a little more about the other personality types so you can engage with people in a way that will be more beneficial. Now,
Yeah, I think
back.
we talked about real quick. We talked about this
No,
in
you're
the
fine.
last episode too, as far as like I think we were talking about database at that point. But how people like to be communicated with, and we were talking kind of like call, text, or email kind of situation. But there's something to be said about there's people that are like, give me the numbers, give me the details, and let me make a decision. And then there's others that want to be more nurtured and more supported with kind of like a conversational, this is what's happening, this is the steps that I recommend, this could be the outcome, like more of a narrative versus bullet points.
Right.
Because if you come at somebody who wants to have their hand held and explained through the situation with bullet points and numbers, they're not going to feel important. They're not going to feel heard or valued. And if you come at somebody who wants bullet points with a narrative, they're not even going to rate it, honestly.
Yep.
So I think that this really does help, like you said, because we come in contact with a lot of people and a lot of personalities.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think the first part that this covers for us is basic fear. And this is the one that stuck out to me. This is me. This sentence or two sentences, I was like, how did they know? Like, that was my first thought was, all right, who told them? So the basic fear with sixes with a 5 wing is that we're afraid of losing our guidance and stability. And it's often expressed through our skepticism of the world. Now, I don't think I am so much a skeptic of the world as much as I've become incredibly independent and unwilling to rely on others or ask for help. Um, because I have this fear that the stability won't be there with those people, if that makes sense. Like, I have to build this on my own because then if it falls apart, I'm the only person I can blame.
Right, because at that point, you've created your own stability,
Right. Exactly.
so allowing somebody to come in is just going to like, that's your skepticism.
I guess you're right.
Just
You're
like,
right. Yeah.
I don't think that you can handle this and I don't need you to mess it up. So,
Right. Yeah. I guess when I first read it, The Skepticism of the World, and my brain initially went to like politics and conspiracy theories. And I was like, that's
mhm.
not who I am at all. But yes, when you phrase it that way, absolutely. I am. We've kind of talked about my dating life here. I am skeptical to let a partner into my life because I have built this on my own. And anytime I've let partners in before, it's diminished a little. So Yeah, I'm skeptical. I've built this. How do
Mhm.
you think this reflects on you? Is this you to a T?
Yeah, kind of. But mine isn't like skepticism of like politics and things. Mine is a deep trust issue. Uh, so same thing. Like once I have like my people, and listen, I love people. I love meeting people. I am a social butterfly, but how do you say that you're a social butterfly but you only have like a small circle? You know what I mean? Like I love being
Yes.
around people and feeding off of people's energy and what's happening around me, but as far as like who I trust, love, and who my circle is very small.
Yep.
Like who I share like my world with is very small.
Yep.
So that's how the stability, like that was how I took that, is because we've created a little life here with the girls and the animals, and like that's my world, and I don't know what I would do without it. But my circle is small. I have a huge reach. I love people, but my core circle is very small.
So I read one of Glennon Doyle's books a while ago, and I've taken this to heart because I was like, okay, I'm not the only person. And hers is a completely different perspective and completely different situation. But she used the analogy of your family or your business or whatever is an island. And around that island
Hmm.
is a moat. And there's a bridge that comes over the moat. And that bridge is up until you can, and her example was until you can love us unconditionally. That bridge will stay up and you're not allowed to cross it and come to our island until you can love us unconditionally. And for me, I'm like, it's not even the love unconditionally. It's until I can trust you, until I know
Hmm.
that you also have the good intentions for me, my family, my business, whatever. Um, so I stand very firmly on my island,
Yeah, I believe in a moat. I
right?
used to joke about it as a kid, like having my castle walls and my moat with crocodiles. And I don't think that crocodiles actually live in a moat, but that's what I used to say when
I
I was a
feel
kid.
like they maybe could if you put them in there. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
the
my
natural
castle didn't
habitat.
have dragons, it had crocodiles.
I feel
Oh
like
my gosh.
crocodiles are way better. Like, if they bite off someone's leg, that's fine. You can live without a leg. But a dragon's going to burn your whole house down or the whole village. So,
Yeah,
risk
that's
analysis
true.
there.
They might be safer. Yeah.
Right? That's why
The
you like them.
basic.
We don't like risk.
Oh
So,
my goodness. Oh, as a kid, yeah. The next thing on here is the basic desire. And it's so funny because I was just glancing through this while we were talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, I literally just said this. It says they have a strong desire for security, which they tend to show by protecting themselves and others. They seek close and stable relationships. I have a tight circle.
yep.
It says that they tend to defend themselves by projecting their own feelings onto others, which can often enhance their distrust of the world. That part, I guess, I don't connect with that much. I don't think.
Um,
I mean,
I guess I do and I don't. I don't know. I think I would need to dive deeper in that one to better understand it. But the first part, for sure. I mean, I
yeah.
have two best friends, and then I have like you and my team,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, like, I have other friends, but people who get to see the nitty gritty part of my life, the not the well polished, put together, like, very few and far between. And I would rather have two best friends in a tight knit circle than be the girl at the club every weekend with all the friends in the world and was voted prom queen. Like, absolutely no want
Mm-hmm.
or desire for that. So, in summary of of our desires and our fears, we tend to seek support and guidance. We're very hardworking and intellectual. We fear losing our stability. That's my biggest one. I thought this was ingrained into me because of, and maybe it was, maybe this helped develop my personality, but my mom always told me never put yourself in a situation where you're relying on a man. Make sure you can always walk out that door. Um, Sometimes I think maybe I've taken that a little too far, but we project our we project our feelings onto others, and we think logically and analytically. Gosh, yes. So my mom just bought an Airbnb property, and I get it. She's very emotionally attached because it's in the same town as the grandchildren. But probably 2 dozen times now, I've said you need to stop thinking with your heart and start thinking with your business brain. Turn your business brain on. So if that doesn't sum that one up,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good
for
job. Good job,
sure.
Alyssa.
But
Do
we'll
you
see.
want to do the strengths or the weaknesses? We'll trade
I'll
back and forth.
You'd go for the strengths. I'll go for the weaknesses.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm excited about this one. Strengths for an Enneagram 6 with a wing 5 include solving problems practically and efficiently. I think that's a yes
Uh-huh.
for sure. Focusing on specifics and details. If that means overthinking and yeah, I
Yep.
think that's gonna do it. Ability to work well independently. Check.
Yep.
Yes.
Please don't put
And
me on a team project. Like,
oh
that's
my
my
gosh.
biggest fear.
Oh, it wasn't in the biggest fears. That wasn't listed. We just did those. Your biggest fear was not a team project. Passion for pursuing knowledge. I'm honestly so glad that we didn't read through these ahead of time so we can have these like real raw
So
these real raw reactions.
this one is hysterical for me. I'm like, I want my dad to take this because I'm pretty sure that we're both gonna align on this. So I I don't read anything nonfiction. I don't like it. I can't picture different worlds. Please don't make me try to use my imagination to decide what Harry Potter world is going to look like.
So
Give
you
me
mean you don't read fiction, not
Yeah, that's what I meant.
nonfiction.
That's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read fiction.
Nonfiction like business books and
Yes, I
like all
read,
that
like, if
stuff.
you look at my bookshelf right next to me, literally, okay. So we have The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. You Can Heal Your Life, which I've never read. Someone must have given me that as a gift. Killers, female serial killers. I Loved Lucy and Inside Terrorism are the first like 5 that pop out to me right now, other than the cookbooks that are here, which I need to go through. But literally yesterday, Brenna. So, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, my eyes are puffy. I'm a hot mess today. Had a long day dealing with tow truck drivers. It's not done yet. And so I'm a mess today. And during that whole situation, I went to Costco, because that's where my car was parked. And I went through the book section. I was like, I really need to pick up something to read because I'm not watching TV at night that also doesn't require my brain, because at that point in the day when I'm ready to wind down at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, I can't pick up a business book or a self-improvement book. It's not going to stick. And they had all these fiction books, and I was like, I have no interest. I picked up an autobiography of Dave Grohl. I was like, that looks relaxing. It's not. So as soon as you read this, I was like,
Oh,
oh my God. Because, like, to me, that's still knowledge. I'm learning about someone. I'm not sitting here trying to imagine. And don't get me wrong, I love the Harry Potter movies. I think they're a great franchise. But I remember there was The Golden Compass. I read it as a kid. And the way my brain imagined it, then when I went to see it at the movies, I was like, that's not what that looks like. Wait, what? So it's very hard for me to sit down unless it's like maybe historical fiction, which again feels like learning. So that line just got me because I was like, literally, Alyssa, you can't even relax with a book. Like a lot of them, they're like, oh, I'm going to go read 50 Shades of Grey and drink a glass of wine. And I'm like, I'm going to go read about Dave Grohl's life. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
The other thing, the ability to work independently on this one, I think that's a huge strength because there's a lot of people that can't work independently, but sometimes also like I can't work in a crowd sometimes either because I get distracted, you know? So, actually Friday when we had our little coffee meetup in Statesville, I got so much work done. in 90 minutes so much. And I was like, I was interacting and I was sipping my coffee and we had a great time. But I had my laptop open and I was like, while I'm here, I'm doing X, Y, Z.
Yep.
And I have 90 minutes. And I can just like get that done. But that's part of why time blocking I think is so great for me, and small chunks. Because if I give myself like I have to get this done
Today.
today.
Yep.
There's so much room. There's so much wiggle room. If I'm like, okay, I just started the laundry. It's going to beep in 42 minutes. This is my work time. This is what I'm working on right now.
Right.
It just gets a lot. I feel like I get a lot more work done that way.
So the coffee with your group that's what we call body doubling in the ADHD world. Um, like if I have a week to clean my house, I
Mm-hmm.
won't do it. But if my best friend comes over and drinks a cup of coffee sitting at my kitchen table, my house will be clean in an hour.
Yeah.
That's a technique we use. And there's actually so if that's something you struggle with, there are groups online, and I'll tell you this works because my best friend and I used to do it all the time at her old job. Now she has like a top security clearance job and we're not allowed to do it. But we would literally just turn FaceTime on our phones because she worked at an office and I worked at home, and it would just run. But having that person there, I got way more work done because I had to be working. Someone was there to literally hold me accountable. Like, what are you doing? Your groove, like, and not that they actually do, but in my brain, that's how that worked. Was
Right.
someone's watching me? I have to be working right now.
When COVID started, when I was still on a team, we couldn't go into the office, and we did a Zoom call every morning for lead generation, and like cameras were on, but mics were off. So people, like if they were calling or doing the thing, and we just sat there with cameras on.
Yeah,
You
it
must be
works.
moving,
Yep.
writing, dialing, doing something. And it's another form of accountability, I guess, like in our own heads, because like you said, like I don't think anybody's over there taking notes on, oh gosh, Brenna picked up her phone 3 times this hour,
Right. Right. Are we ready for weaknesses?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I I feel seen. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say, just rip the band-aid off and say them all.
so the first one is struggling to control negative thinking. Um, I did really good with this one yesterday. I didn't go into the dark space until about 9:45, but that's a whole different thing. Um, we have a tendency to withdraw from others. We have difficulty expressing our own emotions, and we can be perceived as cold or aloof.
I I hope nobody perceives me as cold or aloof.
I don't perceive
I
you that
hope
way.
not.
I
Oh, good.
don't. But I know people perceive me that way.
Well, sometimes my face just says things that it doesn't mean. You know?
Right? Like
Just
or
just
sometimes I always say I have to remember I have glasses on, not sunglasses. I need to control my eyes. So, this first one, the struggling to control the negative thinking, is actually something I have personally been working on the last 2 years. Like, I have worked really hard on it. 2 years ago, what happened yesterday would have sent me into a completely dark space of the world is falling apart. I'm not going to have a car. How can I sell houses without a car? I'm going to lose my job. Or, I'm not going to be good at my job. You can't lose your job as a realtor. But like, I'm not going to sell houses. I won't have any money coming in. I'm going to have to go find a real job. I don't want a real job. Then I'll lose my house. Blah, blah. Like, would have been down that rabbit hole in 30 seconds. Yesterday, I was like, well, this is a bump in the road. It sucks. Hope it doesn't cost me a lot of money. Um, but that's something I've had to work really hard on. Like
Mhm.
really hard. Is that
That's a lot of work too.
it
It is
is.
a
It's a
it's a
lot of
lot of
work.
work.
Me,
But I'm the same way as far as the skies falling, and one thing leads to another. For me, um, and this ties into withdrawing from others. I have to leave the house, right? It's easy for me to work from home a lot, unless I'm like on appointments, showing houses, like those kinds of things. And I'll be home with my dogs, and that's totally okay with me.
yep.
But I find myself stuck in my own head a lot more that way. So going on Friday mornings and working with other people and having an adult conversation and like getting out of the house and going to Violet's practice, or you know what I mean? Things like that where I'm having to interject and like put myself out there, because otherwise I don't do it on purpose. It just
Yeah.
happens.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I could never leave my house and be completely happy, but it would pull me into that dark space.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like during lockdown, ooh, ooh, it was bad. Um, Now, that brings us to the third one, which is the difficulty expressing our own emotions. Yep. Yep. I don't know what else to say about it. I can
I
I
don't
can
know what else
see
to
you
say to
too,
that.
cuz you're like, "Yeah, that's me." Because I'm the type of person that I bottle it because I and then it just
Explodes.
explodes, or I try not to bottle it, and then because of my ADHD, I tend to talk too much about it, which then people look at me and I'm like, "I'll just shut up now, never mind." Because maybe I'm always like, "I don't know if that what I can't describe how I feel. I don't know what emotion this is." And then I just cry. So, but I think that's
Yeah.
also why we can sometimes be perceived as cold and aloof, because we do have that difficulty expressing our emotions. So
Which is
like,
so funny because I don't have issues connecting with a wild range of people.
right?
It's the when it gets like personal with me, that's when it's like pump the brakes a little bit, you know?
Right. That's what I'm like, you can go away now, thanks. I'm gonna go home and eat some popcorn. You can go away now.
Oh, are you
Oh,
ready to dive into work personalities?
yes.
Okay, I'm excited about this
Yes.
one.
Um,
Communicating with an Enneagram 6, wing 5. Give them space to recharge and concentrate while offering them support when needed.
yes,
Wow,
please.
that's a good one.
Like
Yeah.
I have a
I think
not a
I think that
non
that's us. Yeah.
if I've gotten very good at saying I just need to unload and I just need you to listen, or saying I need to unload and then I need your advice.
Yep.
That's where this comes in. Like, yeah, just leave me alone.
That's so funny. I was just thinking too, that's I communicate with other people that way too, because like I had a contract fallout last week and it was a lending issue. It was nothing we could have done. Even with like a home inspection or an appraisal, I will give all of the information, right? Here's what I have. Take a minute, sit down, read through it. You know what I mean? And then get back to me and we'll work through this. But
Right.
that's how I present it to them. I'm like, here you go. Here's what I think. Here's the facts. Here's how we could move forward. You look at it and let me know.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's funny.
Yep. Meeting with an Enneagram 6. Yes. Or a 6W5, excuse me. Focus on conveying the message clearly and succinctly. Listen to any suggestions and ideas. Yes. If this is a topic that can be covered in 10 minutes, this needs to be a 10-minute meeting. It doesn't need to be 30 minutes because we spend the first 10 with everyone shuffling in late, getting their coffee, talking about kids' soccer practices. No, get to the nitty gritty. Let's do this. And then, yes, please listen to me, because as you've all been doing those things, I've already been processing what's happening and I want to talk about it. I'm done. Like, let's go. I'm ready to take action. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
think that's how like buyer consults for me go. So I'm a listener. I always have been a listener. So I can listen to people go on and on and on all day. That's cool. And then I have some things to share. But I guess the clearly and succinctly to me, it isn't specifically necessary because listen, I can tell the long version of the long story. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that doesn't bother me if it's not like all tied up in a bow, like here's the details, ready, set, go. If it takes a little bit longer to get there, that's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah. I guess I'm very much like, again, it's back to my professional background. Like, just give me the nitty gritty, give me what I need to
Hmm.
know, and then let's move on.
Hmm.
Um,
Now going into the next one, the emailing and Enneagram 6. It says avoid small talk, be forward, and encourage them to share their thoughts. I do not like a short, not a short email, but just like
A
if it was
curt
like
one.
text, you know what I mean? Like if you can text it and be like, I need this, fine. But if you're gonna email somebody, you should say like at least say hello
Right.
first.
Well, and
That
I
just
think it
seems
also depends on like where in that email chain you are. Like,
Mhm.
I'm famous for getting to send the attachment. So, like, if you send me one, hey, listen, the attachment's not there, my response is just going to be, please see attached.
Yep. I
Because,
do and I do the exact same thing.
or
Please see
like,
attached.
yeah, like it's like, okay, done. Be like, I might say, oh gosh, I'm sorry. But
Mhm.
usually it's just going to be, please see attached because I don't have time. Like, I just want to get through this.
So I think you're right about like where in the email chain. Like if you're first sending an email to somebody, I'm much more conversational. Like you've seen my offer emails,
Yes.
very it has all of the bullet points. If you're just looking for the bullet points, there's a little paragraph. It's got all your details. But then above and below it, there's also a little bit of fluff.
Yeah, that's it. And that's exactly how mine is laid out. Ours are very similar. It's like, hey, great listing. My clients are excited to make this their home, blah, 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 blah. Here's the details of our offer, bullet points, because I know that's what everyone wants to go to. And then the second
Mhm.
paragraph has something to do with like the lender is also copied on this email. So feel free to reach out with any questions. We like an
Yep.
open door community. But again, if we're 32 emails in and we're also having a sidebar conversation via phone or text, you're going to get the please see attached because at that point,
Yep.
like we don't need to continue with that. The next one is giving feedback. And again, I'm glad we're doing this reaction raw because which is funny because all week I've been meaning to text you and be like, yo, can you send me that link? Like I wanna be
I'm
prepared for
so
this.
glad that we're doing this without like
Yeah.
going in blind.
Um yeah. So share feedback with us constructively. Help us feel secure while giving us specific ways to improve.
I'm
That
gonna just screenshot that and send it
m-
to my husband.
that
That's it.
middle part that help them feel secure, that's it.
It's not
I'm
hard.
no. I thought until I read this sentence, and I've literally joked with my team lead, like, "Hey, am I in trouble?" And they're like, "No, I just want to talk to you about something. Why?" And I've joked and said, "I have corporate America PTSD. Like, I need to know." Because I had a boss in corporate America who would be like, "Come to my office." And then you get to office, shut the door. And I was like, always constantly like, "Oh my God, this is it. I'm going to get fired. This is the day. What have I done wrong? Have I not been working well enough? Hey, I'm going to order lunch for the team today. Where do you think we should order lunch from?"
All of that for this?
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know, pizza? So, like, to me, yes, that help them feel secure. That's the most, like, literally, if you say, hey, we need to talk, could you please follow it up with nothing's wrong? This is
Right.
just something I want to make sure we talk about.
Right. Right. Or even just like, I mean, it's mostly stuff around the house and things, but Travis is just like aggressive in his delivery on a lot of things. Why? Because his mom says that that's not how he was raised, but he is just like, no, negative, do it again. This was wrong. Do it
that, was,
again.
that wasn't
He's
right.
like a drill sergeant, and I'm just like, there was one very specific instance that I feel like will be funny to share. When I was cleaning here in North Carolina, we have red clay. Okay. So I was cleaning our baseboards. I just wiping down the baseboards, and this man walks in the back door and he says, I wouldn't do it like that.
Oh, Travis.
Well, sir, it turns out that you don't do it at all. So, can't wait to hear what you have to say that would make this situation better. Oh yeah. Yeah, we just have to work on his delivery.
Yeah, right?
I think he means well. It just doesn't come out that way to me.
Right.
That was a funny story. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I can't wait to meet Travis. We need to set up like a time for all of us to get together.
He's a
Um,
fun dude. He really is. Oh my gosh. All right, what's the last one? We have resolving conflict. Ooh, okay. Focus on expressing yourself logically while offering assurance. Work together to problem solve and compromise. This is like mic drop the end. I know there's more to go through here, but like that's it.
Yep, that's it. Yep, let's
That's it.
just I don't
Have a
again,
conversation.
I don't need your fluff.
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
have a
need your emotions. This is
conversation.
how we're going to fix this, and we're going to move on.
Exactly. Yeah, these are our options. What are we going to do? That's it.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to motivations. Go ahead.
Oh, this is another one where I'm like, oh, yeah, they know what they're doing here, don't they?
They really do. Mhm.
When people experience pain, stress, or dissatisfaction at work, it can usually be attributed to energy draining activities. Therefore, it's important to know what kind of activities energize each personality type. So, we are motivated and energized by reliable
Let's say it
relation.
again.
Louder for the people in the back. Reliable relationships and jobs, feeling valued and appreciated by others. That's advocating for the underdog and finding a good
Love that.
solution to a complex problem.
This basically is just the real estate job description.
I mean,
That's it.
if
Print
every
it.
realtor isn't a 6W5, I'd be shocked.
That's good.
Because,
That's
I
good.
mean, how many of us have the story? I mean, my story is leaving corporate America because it sucked. But, like, when it really came down to it, it's because I didn't have these things. I was just working
Mhm.
and making more money for billionaires, and I hated that.
Yep.
Now I get to do all of this, which is what, yep, yeah.
Yeah. Advocating for the underdog. Well, our clients might not be an underdog in whatever
Right, but
negotiating
we're
situation, but
still,
yeah.
yeah, we're still
Yeah,
advocating.
exactly. Finding solutions to complex problems and
That,
reliable relationships and jobs in this industry.
yeah,
We are allowed to pick our reliable
right. That's
relationships
a good
in
point.
this job?
Yeah, because we
Yep.
may not always have as much business as we would like, just because of the way the market is and things. No matter how hard you work, that's always a determining factor you can't control. But you made a good point. We can say, no, we're not going to deal with the buyer who says they have a $1.5 million budget, but won't give me a pre-approval and only wants new construction in a neighborhood that hasn't had anything built in it since the 90s. Like,
Right.
no, bye. And that's actually a real, I know someone who has a client, well, it's a customer like that right now. And I'm like, I would cut bait. I would have cut bait a long time ago. But I think for me, it's the second one, the feeling valued and appreciated. There are
Mhm.
have been so many times where people have been like, "Oh my god, you're amazing. Like, you're wonderful. You saved the day, blah blah." Blah. And I'm like, "I just did my job." But I never heard that at other jobs. So like I'm also like, "Yeah, I'm a rock star on the inside." But like to them I'm like, "Oh, you're so welcome. Like there's nothing, just my job." But that's the big
Yeah,
one for me
exactly.
because if I don't feel that, then I don't want to work with people.
We're just easy
Yep.
to please. It's really easy. Reading through this, I'm like, oh, we're a cheap date? It's
Right? Just tell me
just be
I'm
nice and
pretty.
tell us we're pretty. Oh gosh. So I get the stress. Yeah, okay, I'm excited about this one. We are stressed and drained by inconsistency or unexpected change, like our car dying on the side of the road
Yeah,
on a
that was
Monday
stressful.
afternoon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
during
that was
rush hour.
stressful.
That was
hmm
stressful. Yeah.
Feeling rejected or useless. Don't like that. Mhm. Making an unhelpful or misguided decision. Oh, needing to express themselves emotionally. That is the most draining thing on there. That is, hands down.
See, for me, it's the third one.
Making an unhelpful or misguided decision.
It's the
I will think about
fear.
that for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's the fear of that. What if I make the wrong decision?
Mhm.
Or like back to my mom and the Airbnb. What if she makes the wrong decision?
They have
Yeah.
a list of Enneagram jobs on here, but real estate agent is not listed. Paralegal is.
Right? So I've been a paralegal. I've been an admin.
Okay.
And it wasn't web development, but I was in the project management portion of web development, if that makes sense. I don't know how to code or anything.
I've not been any of these things. I have been a waitress, a bartender, and a real estate agent.
I love that. I've been a waitress and a bartender too.
But it says 6s with a 5 wing are cautious and focused. They're hardworking thinkers who know how to put their plans into action. They thrive in safe environments that offer them stability and allow them to continually learn. I wonder if real estate isn't on there because it's not really
It's not
I mean,
stable.
stable environment, right? It's
Right.
very up and down.
There has been nothing in this personality type about us being willing to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I both take risks.
Yes.
Like, we've both picked up and left home with not truly solid plans. Like, yeah, I had a job, but that was it. We've both made major career changes into something that's completely commission based with no foundation to it. So I find it interesting that we are in these roles. I think the other parts of this, like the wanting to be appreciated by others, the advocating for the underdogs, and the complex problem solving, that's definitely for sure part of being a realtor. But
Mm-hmm.
that security part is what I think why it's not there. So I find it
Yep.
interesting. There must
I
be
agree.
something more to you and I. Um, because I also
Some
think
little
like,
extra special.
right, like I think because I would never want to do any of those jobs again.
I guess we're pretty on for all of it. There was a couple that were like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. But no, I would have to say that our Enneagram had us pegged
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yep. Yeah, for
Cool.
sure. So guys, take this, do what you want with it. If you want the link to the test that we used, send us an email. But I highly recommend, whether it's the disc profile, the Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, whatever one you want to use one of these to help identify who you are and to help identify, like, study it a little bit to understand the people you're working with, whether it's your teammates, other agents, potential clients. It will help you communicate better when you better understand the different personality types.
And we'll see you next week.
Have a good one. We will see you next week. Not Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday, but I'm not allowed to say that.
We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.